Some time ago, I had a friend named Kenny Kemp who made a film about a gentleman that was suffering with cancer. His friends all shaved their head to show solidarity and help him through his hard times. While we were making this short film, I made this documentary about some of the people that were actually acting in the film. Many of these actors actually were suffering with cancer at the time that we were filming. This is some of their advice given to us about how to treat someone who's suffering with cancer.
My name's Annie Knight. I was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma, bone cancer, in my right leg, right above my knee, when I was 12 years old. And at first they thought it was a broken bone, and I was in a cast for 4 months. And after they took off the last cast, they saw that there was something there, and my doctor took the x-rays to radiologists. They said it was still normal, but he said that he would have it checked out if he were asked. So we went and had a CAT scan, and when they did that, they saw a tumor. And the next day, I went up to University of Utah Hospital and had a biopsy done, and they found out that it was cancer. And I started chemotherapy within the next 2 or 3 days.
It's Craig Knight.
Craig Knight, huh?
I'm hooked up with this gal here.
That's great. I'm going to show your leg here too. Is that all right with you? Is okay? Because why don't you describe what's been going on? Because have they actually had to do surgery to take care of some of the cancer
I've
too?
had 4 surgeries on my leg. The first one was just a biopsy, and they cut in right there and just took out, just about an inch long scar. And they took out a little piece of the tumor, just enough to know that it was cancer. And then my second surgery is what's called a bone graft. They took out my femur from here to here.
Wow.
And because that's the bone that had the tumor in it. And they took out my fibula. That's your second bone, down in your lower leg. And they put that up here with a bone from a cadaver and a metal rod, a stainless steel metal rod, and a bunch of screws and bolts, and I got a couple staples in my bone. They said even 5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, I would have had to have my leg amputated.
Oh, wow. That's
and
amazing.
10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have lived.
It was about, I had my surgery in November.
How many months ago is that now?
About 6 months. And I've been on chemotherapy since December.
So does that keep it from spreading, or what does chemotherapy do?
That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed
Right.
to
Kind
keep
of
it
limit
from
it.
spreading and hopefully kill it, knock it out. Like I said, they took out the tumor, but then there was other little lesions spread out through my intestines that they couldn't cut out. And they're hoping that the chemo will kill them. So right now my prognosis is pretty good.
My mom had chemotherapy.
Is that right? How's she doing now?
I don't know.
She looks pretty healthy. That's great. So how did it go? How long ago was that?
About maybe 2 years ago.
Really? That's great. Well, that's really great. Well, good to know. All right, get in there now. Thanks.
And my kids, I've got 2 daughters that at first it was real hard on them. It was kind of funny that when we first told them, that I had cancer, the first thing they thought about was me losing my hair. Oh no, my dad's going to lose his hair. And just looking at it from their perspective, I mean, that was the biggest deal to them, that I was going to lose my hair.
Excellent, cool. Now, when he lost his mustache,
Not necessarily.
how about his eyebrows?
Not necessarily. I've seen them where they've lost all of their body hair, and I've seen it where they've just lost the scalp.
Do you want to thin his eyebrows a little bit
Yeah, I'm
too?
going to do it with makeup, and I'm going to gray him a little out.
The nurses asked us about when we first went in was whether we had good insurance, and they made the comment that a number of people who go through it without insurance, and they end up losing homes and cars, and she said oftentimes they end up getting divorced, and the family is destroyed that way.
It's been real difficult. I haven't worked since October. I've been off work that long because I'm in construction, and it's very physical, and I haven't been able to go back to work. As far as support, my friends and family have been great. I mean, when I was in the hospital, I was in the hospital for 3 weeks, and I mean, every day I'd have just people there all the time, friends and family. My wife was there constantly, and a lot of friends have helped us out, support us financially, giving us
that's
some
great.
money here and there.
You're in remission, are you?
I'm still going through chemotherapy.
How many more treatments you have?
I've got 8 months worth of treatments to go.
Hang tough. You're looking good.
We're getting there.
Okay, rehearsal?
Very difficult watching chemo drip in through the IV and knowing what it was, and knowing how dangerous it was, and the effect that it was going to have on her. In fact, Annie got to the point where she'd put a blanket over the IV tree so that she wouldn't watch it.
Yeah, I always have the nurse cover, even just the regular IV fluid. I have to have that covered up because it makes me think of chemo, and chemo makes me sick. Even when I'm just driving up to the hospital, as soon as I get inside of the hospital, I start feeling just really sick, and I just feel rotten because I know how I'm going to feel when I get there.
When I lost it, Chad, I'll never forget him. He was so cool. I was really upset. I just started losing it, and the hair was just coming out, and then it was all gone within a week. It was a potent drug that affects that hair follicles. And we were laying in bed, and he was sleeping in my room that night, and the light was on, and I was about to go to bed, and I just started crying because it was hard to deal with it. And he said, "Oh, Mom, what are you crying about?" And he was 6 years old. And I said, well, gosh, I'm just not, how do you talk to a 6-year-old about this? And I just said, well, I just look terrible. I'm not pretty anymore. And he said, "Oh, Mom." And he leaned over. It was so cool. He leaned over and touched my nose and said, "Mom, you've got your face, you've got your eyes and nose, and you're still beautiful."
That's
Turn that
cool.
thing
That's
off.
great. That's really
I
nice.
just thought, oh boy. And anytime I think about that, I think of how, it taught him a lot.
A lot of times we have to be really careful, and if our counts are way down, or when our immune system is pretty much dead, we have to be really careful about going out. And I have a Broviac catheter in my chest, and it's a tube. One end goes right into my heart, and the other end goes up my neck right here into the jugular vein, and that's what they give chemotherapy through. Chemotherapy is mostly, it's just IV fluids, really strong IV fluid, and we have to be careful about that, but most of the time we just want to be treated like regular people, and we still like doing the same kinds of things as everybody else, going to the movies, just going out with friends and things, but sometimes you have to be treated different, and it's okay sometimes.
When they first told me, my first reaction was, this is it. I've got cancer. There's no hope. But talking to a lot of cancer patients, a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses, I've just come to the conclusion that I'm going to beat this because there's so many people that have beaten it already.
Sometimes the kids will come up and say, "What happened to your leg?" or "Why don't you have any hair?" And their moms will come, "Oh, shh, don't say that. That's rude." And that doesn't bother me at all. That's fine. I don't care.
A lot of times it's the patient who will ask for support and will let you know whether or not you're invading into their privacy, into their space, asking the wrong questions, or if you're babying them too much. They will let you know. But the important thing is to offer your support and to be there for them so that they can ask.